Hello, today we're going to be looking at solutions, mins, and maxes of polynomials. This is very similar to when we looked at solutions, mins, and maxes of quadratics. It's just whenever we have a polynomial graph, there's going to be more basically bends and turns and twists in the graph. Not so much twists, bends and turns and curves. So because of that, instead of only having 0, 1, or 2 solutions, you could theoretically have way more solutions. You can also have both a minimum and possibly more than one of those, or a maximum and possibly more than one of those, because of the way the graph is going to have more bends in it basically. So just some friendly reminders, this is all the same as quadratics. Solutions are the x values where a graph crosses the x-axis. So in this picture here, all of those circled red points are solutions. For solutions, we just list the x values, so you don't need to list the whole coordinate, just list the x coordinate. Mins and maxes are the opposite, you list the y values. Minimums are any time that you have a low point or kind of valley. And so this one's circled, it's kind of hard to see in blue here. You have one minimum, the y value of that minimum is -4. Did not mean to zoom, oh boy, here we go. Okay. And then maximums are where you have a peak, like the top of a hill. There are 2 of those here. You list both of them, even though one is higher than the other. Anytime you have a peak, that's a maximum. And once again, you list the y coordinates. What we're going to focus on today is, in a moment here, we'll be graphing with Desmos. And then from there, once you have a Desmos graph, it'll be easy to find solutions, mins, and maxes. And that's our goal for today. So let's try this first one. We want to graph the function on Desmos, state the x values of all the solutions, and the y values of any local minimums and maximums. Let's start with the graph the function on Desmos part. All I need to do is type this equation here into Desmos. So we're just going to type that into Desmos. F of x really functions the same as y, but you can go ahead and type in exactly what you see, f parentheses x, just like that, equal sign, and then everything else type in what you see. X, a to the b button gives you your exponent, 3, minus 7x squared plus 11x plus 1. Your graph will move around on you quite a bit while you are typing, but once you're done typing, it'll kind of settle down. Solutions, and just like before, we see that Desmos kind of highlights the interesting stuff. Some of these interesting things we won't care about. What we do care about are solutions, which is where the graph crosses the x-axis. Where does the graph cross the x-axis? It happens 3 times. If I click on those, Desmos will tell me where they happen. I'm going to list just the x coordinate. So my first solution is at -0.086. Keep going. We have another solution right here. X equals 2.572. And then one more. X equals 4.514. So those are all the solutions. When you're done looking at a point, if you click on it again, that box that comes up with the numbers will go away. Next up are any minimums. How many minimums does this graph have? This graph has one minimum, one low point, which is right here, what I'm going to click on. For mins, we use the y value, and so my minimum happens at y equals the y coordinate point, -3.481. That's my only minimum, so I'm done. This graph also has a maximum or a peak. That maximum or peak happens up here. We just list the y coordinate for maxes. My y coordinate for my max is 6, so I have a max at y equals 6. There was one point I didn't click on, which was the one on the y-axis. That's called a y-intercept. We typically don't get too concerned about those, so ignore a y-intercept unless it happens to also be a min or a max or a solution. Let's try one more. So once again, we need to graph the function in Desmos. So I'm going to click this gray X here to get rid of the equation I had, type in my new equation. To get f, I hit my ABC button, f parentheses x equals, minus sign is the same as negative, x, a to the b to get my exponent 4, minus x, a to the b to get my exponent 3, plus 4x squared minus 6. And we get this kind of, it's like a lopsided M actually, or I almost think it looks kind of like the Arby's logo, the Arby's hat, kind of, without the bottom of the hat. You can think of it however you want to. We are going to do the same thing we did before, find our solutions, find our mins, find our maxes. Solutions are where we cross the x-axis. How many times does this graph cross the x-axis? You can zoom in a smidge if you want. It crosses the x-axis 2 places. One of them is right here. We list the x-coordinate there. So my first solution is that x equals negative 2.251. My other one, if I click on it, x-coordinate is negative 1.285. For minimum, how many minimums does this graph have? Minimums are where you have a low point or a valley. There's only one here, which is right here. My min value, again we list y's for min, is at y equals negative 6. Maxes also involve y values. Maxes are where we have a peak or a top of a hill. That happens twice. Top of this hill right here. That y value is 2.31. And then I have another peak. It's not as high, but it's still a peak, so I'm going to count it. My other max value is at negative 3.954. That is it for today for solutions, mins, and maxes. Again, type your equation in Desmos exactly the way you see it. Once you have that, you are going to click on the gray dots that are important to you. Solutions are where we cross the x-axis. Mins are valleys. We use y-coordinate for that. Maxes are peaks. We use y-coordinate for that as well. Hope you feel really comfortable with these now. I hope you have a wonderful day.